Hey everyone, Matt here and welcome to this brand new video on my channel. It's been a few days, maybe even a week, I'm not even sure, but yeah, glad to be back. The reason I haven't done any videos, guys, for the past few days is because I've just been so caught up with my music. I've been recording and yeah, been living two lives really. So I thought I would bring a new video to the series. In this video, we're going to be talking about a fragrance that comes from a very classic British house called Worth. Now, you guys might have heard of this house, a lot of you might not have heard of it. Worth go way back. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. And the fragrance we're going to be talking about, guys, is Reviens Couture. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for sticking around, guys. Now, in this review, I am going to be talking about a perfume, guys. Now, sometimes I do talk about perfumes, sometimes I talk about masculines. Mainly masculines I do tend towards. In this video, we are going to be talking about this fragrance. Now, this is a very famous fragrance. Some of you might have heard of it. Reviens was a very famous fragrance, but we are going to talk a little bit about the House of Worth to begin with. Here we go. Now, the House of Worth actually dates back to the 1850s, and it was founded by Charles Henry Worth, who was a designer that tended towards both genders. And at the time, it wasn't really frowned upon. It was actually quite rare that a designer did that. Charles died in 1895, and now the company is owned by his two sons. And his sons are named Gaston Lucien and Jean-Philippe Worth, who, in all fairness, they really have stuck to their father's high standards. They do continue the fashion, although Worth are not big as they used to be. Their heyday really was in the 1920s, in the 1930s. So the first fragrance for Worth came out in 1924, and it was an Oriental called Dans la Nuit. And it was composed by the in-house perfumer Maurice Blanchard. Now, like I said, the original Reviens by Worth was launched in 1932, and it was a floral aldehyde composed again by the perfumer Maurice Blanchard. And I think what makes this fragrance interesting to me is the fact that I would say between in the 1920s and the 30s, it was a really experimental time for fragrances. Of course, we had in 1921 Chanel No.5. I mean, when that one released, it pretty much exploded. It was massive. The fragrance itself was so popular to so many people around the world, women at the time. It became the most best-selling fragrance of all time. Especially to this day, a bottle sells every 5 minutes everywhere around the world of Chanel No.5. I mean, that's incredible. Fragrances like this were trying to compete. In 1924, this one would have been trying to compete with the likes of Chanel No.5. And the reason I'm bringing you guys a review for this is because it's still available. You can actually still buy this. I ordered this on eBay a few days ago for really cheap. That's what I'm saying. It's a really inexpensive fragrance. It's a 50ml bottle, but it's the fact that it's still available is what's really making me want to do a review for this. Because why would a fragrance from a company that isn't that huge nowadays still be getting released? Well, my answer to that is the fact that the smell is very, very high quality. The bottle, the sprayer, everything on it is just absolutely quality. The bottle itself is just absolutely stunning. I get this kind of skyscraper look with it. Reminds me very much of the 1920s. I don't know what it is. I think it might have had something to do again with when I was describing it with a building, the skyscraper, this whole 1920s look. Buildings at the time look like that, you know, and I think maybe that was the influence behind it. I don't know. But all we get is Worth in here in embroidered writing, and we get Reviens as well. And we just, like I said, we get these stripes just down the bottle, which are just stunning. The bottle itself's blue. Reminds me very much again of like old ornaments that my grandma and my nana would have on their shelves. I remember things like this very, very well. But the juice itself is just gorgeous as well. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but the juice is quite dark. So like I said before, we're not very well known to a lot of Worth's perfumes. You can still find like miniatures and vintages online if you go on. But in terms of finding new bottles of their older fragrances, they're pretty much long gone, like the Titanic. Now here we go. I'm going to spray some right here on my wrist. I probably am going to regret spraying 3 sprays of this because, like I said, this is strong stuff. Reviens Couture from 2004. A flanker to the original? Or maybe it's not. Now, after a lot of thinking, I've come to realise that it may not be a flanker at all, but a re-release. Because this perfume, to me, smells like how Reviens should smell. Because I used to own the new version of Reviens in an EDT formulation, and it was really awful, in all fairness. It had this like paint thinner smell to it. The notes weren't coming through that I was expecting. It wasn't nice. It wasn't pleasant. The longevity wasn't there either. I wasn't even getting like 45 minutes until it was completely vanishing on my skin and turning into this like kind of watery, yeah, awful stuff. Really, really awful. This version, however, is just a refined, redeveloped version. It would make all the sense in the world to call this simply Reviens, in all fairness. Forget the couture. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they designed this for fans of bottle designs. Maybe this is influenced on an older design. I don't know. Or maybe I need to go back after this video and look it up. I don't know. Might be worth it actually, because maybe there is a bottle design that looks like this. I don't know. Now obviously this is stronger than the EDT, because this is of course an eau de parfum, and that might make sense again to why this is stronger. But in all honesty, this makes the original look really bad. But I digress. Reviens Couture has a similar note breakdown to the original, but only like a few notes are missing, and those notes are the bergamot, oak moss, orris root, cloves, the hyacinth, and I think that's it actually. Yeah, I think that's actually it. I think they're the only notes that are missing. Whereas Couture's kept and maintained some of Reviens' original notes, like the lemon, the aldehydes, the ylang ylang, the rose, vetiver, musk. The first impression of Reviens Couture to me is a very intense 1920s blend, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Of aldehydes, some citruses going on there, powdery ylang ylang, which I just love. I love ylang ylang in perfumes, but when ylang ylang is done well, like it is in this, stunning in all honesty. And a musk. I get like a really strong musk out of this too. And believe it or not, even though it's not in the new version, there is a slight mossiness going on as well. But maybe that's actually coming from the musk. I don't know. It's actually a really delightful floral, in all honesty. I think when I got this, even though it was really inexpensive, it was a bit of a daring purchase for me because, after smelling the original EDT, I wasn't a fan. I thought it was awful. It had this, like I said, this paint thinner opening lasting no longer than 30 minutes. Disgraceful, really. And I thought, if I get this, it's probably going to smell the same. Who knows? It might not. Might not. So it was a bit of a gamble. But then once I purchased a bottle, I then went straight on to Fragrantica and I looked up what people were saying about it, and people were saying really good things about it. People were saying that it was basically just a stronger version of the original. A lot of people were even saying it was otherworldly in terms of its smell. I get what they mean, like. I do get what they mean. I think what makes this smell otherworldly is the fact that it's the strong use of aldehydes. We don't use aldehydes that much nowadays, but when it's used, it creates this kind of like a fresh air, breezy smell. This is done in a way that I have smelled before in a few fragrances, but when it's done on a potent level like this, it gives the fragrance this this almost time capsule smell. Like, just, it's a smell that you wouldn't smell nowadays, without a doubt. It's very old-fashioned. In terms of, like, the time it came from, I'm not talking about in terms of the people who wear it. That's the difference. It's one thing to judge people in terms of what they wear, in terms of their age, but I like to judge fragrances more on the time period as opposed to the type of people who are wearing it. To me, that's important. I don't like to judge, so I like to keep it in a way that's more human and more honest, in all fairness. In terms of the notes, like the other notes that I do get, so I do get the citruses, without a doubt, like I said before. There's, like I said, there's a lot of florals, so I do get maybe a touch of violet. Not too much violet, but a touch. There's a lot of rose, a lot of jasmine. So if there's jasmine lovers out there, if you're looking for a raw jasmine, this is good. There's this faint smell of narcissus, which, if you guys have ever smelled narcissus, it's known to have like a kind of animalic floral smell to it. And I do get that because there's this slight dirtiness to the scent. And I think the narcissus, once it's really drying down in the dry down with that musk, it turns into this, just this kind of, like I said before, and even though it doesn't contain oak moss, there's this mossy element to the animalic notes in the dry down, which is nice. I do like it, in all fairness. It's really nice indeed. Now, yes, this is without a doubt feminine. Even nowadays, to me, smelling it, back in 1924, this would have been so feminine to the point if even a man was wearing this, it would have been difficult at the time, I'm sure. Nowadays, I'm pretty sure men can wear this, but it really does depend on your personal taste. I'm not one of these people who like to nitpick on who can wear what. I might actually wear this and see what happens. Because I'm smelling it now, and all I'm really getting is this really strong floral fragrance that, yes, is feminine, but I suppose with that animalic side to it, it gives the fragrance this kind of masculine smell, I suppose, which men could easily wear. And if you're into just fragrances in general, and you're a collector like me, I think this bottle is worth having. Yeah, I really do. I think, you could talk all day about niche houses producing the best bottle designs and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, there are some designer fragrances out there that have great bottle designs, but this is just really, really awesome. Really, really awesome stuff. So yeah, I just love the florals in this perfume. They're blended very well together, and this is a great scent that I do enjoy to smell. I do enjoy smelling it, probably more than to wear, because the scent itself is daring, and not everybody does like floral fragrances these days. I also have the box here. I was showing it before as well, but only for a split second. Not a lot going on, to be honest. The box itself is actually really, really nice, though. It's nice material. If I paid for this in a department store, I'd be absolutely over the moon. They've done a good job. Oh, I'm just really pleased that it's basically better than the original one that I smelled, because the original one that I smelled was shite. So yeah, guys, that's all I'm going to say. I think this is a great fragrance, and I'm just really happy to review all sorts of fragrances on my channel, and I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this one. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. If you guys have enjoyed it, let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Keep smelling good. Bye for now, guys.